I'm currently watching Batman Caped Crusader, right? And I'm going through the episode one by one. So I've reached up to episode 5 at the time of this video. So I'm going to be doing a review of episode 1 to 5 to go over what has happened so far and my thoughts in regards to it. And as you all know, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I'm not going to hold anything back and try and sugarcoat anything. Because let me just say, the bat, the animation style does not look bad. It's a little clunky at certain parts, but it could still kind of work. You understand me? The opening music that they have for I understand what they're going for. It's a kind of, they're trying to go with a kind of noir style detective kind of thing with it, but it needed a bit of a kind of upbeat for it, right? But not bad also. However, this does have problems. There ain't no denying that at all. So let's get into this. The first up, episode 1. This is not the Penguin. That's the best way. That's the best way I'm going to title this. Look, I am not going to subscribe to this whole, it's another universe type thing, it's a different iteration. No. There was absolutely no reason to gender swap the Penguin. None. Absolutely none. Especially when Batman has one of the largest rogues gallery in all of comic books. Literally one of the largest. Batman has a number of female villains that you could have used instead of gender swapping Penguin. I mean, Batman even have some villains or female villains who were like one-off villains that you never saw again. You could have brought one of them back and it would have still worked out. But no, you just wanted to use an established character and race and gender swap this character and then act like, this is some big move that we're doing. The whole thing doesn't even make much sense. And it comes to another problem that I have with this show. Everything is rushed really fast. And this is weird because, I mean, you have episodes of shows like you have the Batman, the original Batman animated series, and you have the Batman from 2004 kind of thing, where they actually paced out the episodes a little better, giving you more of something to actually go into, so it actually feels like some kind of detective story here. You don't get that. All the information kind of gets dropped into your lap one after the other. I mean, yes, the part where Batman holds the guy upside down there by dangling him and then the train is coming to get him to admit that, he's working for the Penguin and all that thing. Yeah, that was good. That's Batman style. No problem with that. Everything else just dropped right into your lap. I mean, when you get to it now, you have Oswalda Cobblepot. Because yes, they had to, they really had to gender swap thing. She is basically trying to take over the criminal underworld by taking out Rupert Thorne and destroying his businesses and all of this. And then she gets to find, there's a leak in her organization, and it's she believes it to be her youngest son, so she kills him. Okay, only for it not to be her youngest son, it's her eldest son, who then realizes she's going to be on to him soon. So what does he do? He goes to see Barbara Gordon, who in this situation is a public defender. You understand? And I'm just going to say this. As I said, I have not seen all the episodes. This is just up to episode 5 or what I've seen so far. But if she becomes Batgirl later in these episodes and nobody realizes it's her, everybody in that city had to be smoking something. Honestly. Because there is no other black, red-headed ginger in that entire city. So unless they get an influx of melanin-infused gingers, that ain't gonna make sense. But okay. So he goes to see Barbara Gordon. Why? Why not go directly to her father, Commissioner Gordon? And the reason that, you could help me get to see your father. If you go to the police station and tell them you need to see Commissioner Gordon, you have vital information, they will let you see it. Yes, it have corrupt cops there, don't get me wrong, it have a lot of corrupt cops in there. Nobody's even denying that at all. But you could have gone there to see the city commissioner and get something done, but no. The whole thing is just a cheap excuse for the two of them to be driving around and have this big shootout. We look at this, so that's about it. And then all of a sudden, Batman comes in his Batmobile, hits the car, gives her a head nod and drives off. Like, why? Why even play that out? And then, goes to see her father, which he could have done from the very beginning. She finds out that he's there, and she has a literal rocket launcher on her ship, the iceberg launcher. She just fires at the police station. And then we see Batman in his bat submarine. I mean, part of what makes Batman so cool is the gadgets that he has. Give these things some kind of reveal. Yes, the Batmobile does look good. Okay, that it's sleek and looks really nice. But we want that reveal. If you're going to reveal a bat submarine, give it some kind of flair. Something. But no. Goes up there, she fires it, blows the police department straight to hell. But luckily when he makes it out, Batman defeats a henchman and her and then wraps it up. Why did you need to gender swap Penguin? You have so many other female villains you could have used that would have actually worked here, but no. Let's just gender swap Penguin because that makes sense. Then we move on to episode 2. You understand? And the thing about it is that, look, I was all for it when they talked about how Clayface was going to be a serial killer. I was like, okay, this could work. The thing about it is that you have Renee Montoya, who's assigned to locate a missing actress, this Yvonne Francis, right? And she was last seen with Bruce Wayne and the other. And then she goes and checks this fellow actor, Basil Carlo, and all this kind of thing and stuff like that. And then people start dying. And there's one scene where Batman does a little sword fight with Clayface, which isn't really bad all of that. But then you get to find out the so-called stuff, and again, all the information just keeps getting dropped in people's lap. There's barely any investigation to be done. But it turns out Basil Carlo is actually Clayface. He went to this doctor who injected some kind of thing and it made his face very, putty-like so he could reform it to look whatever. And the thing about it is that he's in love with this Yvonne Francis woman. But because of how he looks, he's always had to play the role of the bad guy and all that stuff like that. Right. So when he fixes up his face, look better, he goes to see her after she had a date with Bruce Wayne. And he goes to her and he's like, now I look like this, we can be together. And she just flat out like, get away from me. That makes his face start to melt, so then he just abducts her and starts killing a bunch of other people on the movie set. Like, why? Why? Because this is why I don't understand. None of these other people actually did anything to him, I mean, you got cast in roles how you look okay. There are great actors out there who just have a kind of villainous look to them, so they get cast in villainous roles. You made a lot of money doing all this stuff at the other. Okay, why not? But there is no motivation. I mean, you could have set it up so something like, maybe this Yvonne Francis woman was, using him, stringing him along, making him believe that she actually loved him, all kind of thing, so she could get roles and he would get kept down. Not to outshine her, and then maybe the people at the studios or something who were like underpaying him, keeping him from getting different roles, what kind of stuff. So he has a reason for what he's doing, but there is none of that. I mean, she just, if you had just made it out that she was this cold, unfeeling, heartless bitch, we could work with that. and the people at the studio were a bunch of assholes. Okay, we have some sympathy for him, but now we can understand why he's doing what he's doing, but you don't give any of that at all. And then when he decides to finally kill her in some big dramatic scene where this swinging acts like pendulum thing, she takes that opportunity to criticize the man acting. Is that the best opportunity and time to be an asshole? No. God says when the man is trying to kill you, that's it. There is literally no motivation for him as a villain, or other than this woman rejected him, so he kidnapped her and then went and killed a bunch of other people before deciding to kill her because now he decides he wants to be a villain. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense. There's no actual anything here. But this is what happens when you're more interested in just race swapping characters because this Yvonne Francis woman is black and she's beautiful, but still. Want to push these narratives without actually giving thought to the story. Yeah. Then we move on to episode 3, right? And we get Catwoman. Now the thing about this episode is that yes, it has Catwoman in it. We also get introduced to Dr. Harley Quinzel, who's not Dr. Harley Quinzel. And we get to find out some more about Batman, let's say Bruce Wayne's childhood. Well, let me go through this step by step. First, I'll start with Catwoman. They have literally turned Catwoman into a cheap floozy. That's the only way to put it. Okay, so basically, she's an heiress, but her father, squandered and embezzled a bunch of money. He's now in jail. She has bills passed, stuff like the other. Okay, and apparently she's some kind of kleptomaniac as well. She sees Batman, gets inspired to put on this Catwoman-like suit, which I don't mind. The suit is reminiscent of the classic Catwoman look. Okay, great with that. But there is no depth to this woman as a character whatsoever. She's just stealing because. That's it. She needs to get some money for whatever she has to do, so she's stealing because she doesn't have any actual reason. Okay, if it is out of desperation, I could understand that, but that's not what it is. She's just doing it because. And then when Batman catches her the first time, she goes to court, they let her go. She realizes Batman has a cool car, so she literally devises a kind of Catwoman-like car as well, which Catwoman did have a kind of Catwoman-like car, okay. But again, there's no depth to her. The part is chasing her on the roof of the and then yes, she does kiss him, but there is no depth to Catwoman as a character. Nothing. I mean, even Batman does not even actually acknowledge her as a real villain. He just basically thinks of her as an annoyance. That's all. She's just basically an annoyance. Have some depth to the woman. Now, Catwoman is such an interesting character. You could have done so much with. No. You just turn her into this cheap wannabe floozy who can't do anything. And then, in the end, her maid just sells everything because, she was doing this whole thing that she was stealing the trick. She was thinking to try and keep an upscale life for you. No. She then moves out of her penthouse, goes to this rundown part of town, and is living in squalor, and she's perfectly good with it. Why are you doing this then? Because you just want to do it because it's the same kind of fun. And then in the end, her maid just sells off everything, takes the money, and goes on a trip and leaves her to rot in jail. And Batman doesn't care, nobody doesn't care, that's the end of it. Then we get to Dr. Harley Quinzel in this episode, which isn't really Dr. Harley Quinzel, but what I will say is that her approach to dealing with Bruce Wayne, because apparently Bruce had some, had his mother's pearls on display at a museum. Some reporter made a wisecrack, so he punched him. Why would you have your mother's pearls in a museum? It doesn't make any sense, whatever. So he gone to therapy, and I will start up saying that, the way the way that Dr. Harley Quinzel, who isn't Harley Quinn, actually comes off as a therapist at first in this episode is actually really good. She literally reads between the lines of what or some of the bullshit that Bruce Wayne is actually trying to spew. Okay, don't worry, they ruin her as a character soon enough. We'll get to that when in time, but yeah. Okay. Then we get to Bruce Wayne's childhood. What happened when he fell out at Oswalda? And then we get him lying in bed having a nightmare about what happened, seeing the criminal thing. And then he goes to see Alfred. Look at this face, people. Tell me that face does not scream this child needs serious mental health. But no, what did Alfred do? Decide to just, encourage his lunacy rather than call the paddy wagon. I mean, look at that face. That is not the face of Batman and the face of somebody who needs to be put in a straitjacket and put in a padded room. That's what that face says. But no, let's do that because that wasn't disturbing at all. Yeah. When we get to the next episode now, and at this episode, honestly, out of all, actually kind of made me, I should say, actually kind of had some actual element to it. The mayor wants Batman caught. So Gordon puts Montoya in charge of catching him, and she has this whole plan to have, cops pretend and then getting more, I think, to lure him out. It doesn't work at first. When they have a shootout, he does show up, but because his car is pretty badass, he manages to break through barricade and go on. Okay. So she brings in Dr. Quinzel, who basically tells her that Batman has this obsession with fighting costume lunatic, so that's what's going on. So the two most corrupt detectives in the GCPD, Harvey Bullock and Arnold Flask, decide that they are going to take this criminal called Firebug, put all his gear into the car, drive off with him, and then literally encourage him to escape, right? And go on and start literally burn shit down. What we start to do is literally start to burn down those all kind of thing, right? Also, they could lure out Batman and get to it. That's what they're doing. So when he literally starts to burn down this tenement, right? Batman shows up and Flask and Bullock, along with some other corrupt SWAT detectives, go in there. Batman has to fight them off while also trying to save people and all this stuff, right? When Firebug runs out of any more flame and all this together, Flask tells Bullock that he's gonna talk, so they shoot him dead. They shoot him dead. And again, this is the one that actually makes kind of sense because these guys are corrupt. They actually had a plan going in. Because they are corrupt, they set loose a psychopath to catch somebody else. When they knew that they knew he was going to talk, they killed him. And that's the one with that. Okay. Now, the thing about it is that during this episode, Commissioner Gordon is at the GCPD and he goes down to the conference room and sees Batman standing in there checking out the evidence board. Batman then, just standing there, Batman then takes off running, he chases after him, shoots behind him, but he manages to escape. This, in my opinion, was a very wasted opportunity. Because what should have happened is that he should have come in there, meet Batman standing there, pull on, take out his gun, Batman throw a batarang, lock it, and then have a conversation, literally have this conversation with him and tell him that, you're wasting time going after me. I'm just out there trying to stop the bad guys. Your force is filled with corrupt cops who are willing to do whatever to make a name for themselves, something like that. So you could have started off right there. Commissioner Gordon starts to think at that point, maybe Batman isn't as bad as he thought. Okay, that would have been a good point. Now, later on in the episode, Batman and Commissioner Gordon do save some children from the fire. Okay, but having that interaction before would have actually led to this being much more important. after that, no, Gordon wants to fire Bullock and Flask, but because they killed Firebug and the reporters got a picture of Bullock standing by the window after shooting him dead, the mayor wants them to be the ones leading the task force now and tells Gordon to give them everything that they need. So yeah, like I said, this episode was actually the one episode that I say actually made some sense, because these guys were corrupt as hell, had a corrupt plan, worked that corrupt plan, and still got rewarded for their corruption in the end. Like I said, that made sense. It did. It made sense. The wasted opportunity with Batman and Commissioner Gordon, yeah, but still, that did make sense. So we go on to episode 5 now, where we get to find out about, let's go and waste our more time with Dr. Harley Quinn, who isn't Dr. Harley Quinn. Now, first off in this episode, they make it very clear. Okay, let's be honest with you. We all know Renee Montoya is a lesbian. That has been more than established at this point. But no, Harley Quinzel, who has also been race swapped, she's on a date with Renee Montoya. They kiss her, and I'm just like, this is supposed to be set in the 1940s, people. That was not allowed back then. I'm not saying people weren't doing it, but that was not allowed. Let's be honest. The thing about it is that when it comes to Harley Quinzel, right, she is apparently, and she's been doing this for a while now, apparently, her patients who are rich, she's like kidnapping them and apparently like brainwashing them into giving away all their money before killing them. And they're all men, because there are no corrupt women here, and clearly she doesn't have some daddy issues to work out. The thing about it is that there is literally no investigation here at all. This guy is found walking down the street claiming he's a pharaoh. I think okay. Batman then goes to his house and finds a checkbook with checks made out to Harley Quinzel. That's it. That's how he knows. For Barbara Gordon, she goes to see Mr. Ferroman. When she mentions Harley Quinzel's name, he freaks out and tries to jump down the freaking roof. So that's how she knows. She goes to see her, and Harley just lies to her, and that's it. Right? When she goes to Harlene's office, she finds it ransacked, and she realizes Batman will just say, I have never seen Batman ransack her office. Batman will search it, and you'll never even know he was there. No, that's what it is. So she just knows that. And then you have Harley, this weird jester-like person. What? It doesn't even make any sense. You don't get any kind of an explanation as to why she's a jester, what she's doing. Nothing. She just kidnapping people. And the thing about it is that her whole thing about kidnapping people and forcing them to do this kind of thing, because she's keeping them in these container-like things, right? And the thing about it is that she's forcing them to do all kind of things. She has this one guy dressed like a baby and all kind of thing. I mean, this is, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is basically Hugo Strange's shtick. Forcing people to do things, manipulating minds, and that kind of stuff. But no, we have Harley Quinn doing it for some weird reason that nobody could actually understand. Then you have this whole thing with Barbara goes there looking, Batman tells her to leave, what kind of crap. Then Harley shows up in a jester outfit. It's really, really ridiculous, people. Honestly, very ridiculous, this whole thing. And then Harley gets away in the end. You understand? And then she calls Montoya to tell her that she has to go out that town and all that. This is not this is not Harley Quinn. This is not Harley Quinn at all. This is a character that you could have created somebody new. And I know people are going to say that, her creator was actually here. Okay, you can create something and still woo people. It is possible. Look at the guy who created Percy Jackson. As they waved that Disney money under his nose, he was more than happy to submit before you could even shout race swap. It is possible to do it. And the thing was that this episode really just had them ruining Harley Quinn as a character. You got no explanation for what she was doing at all. Everything was just kind of played out ridiculously, no investigation. Barbara tried to save Batman by, hitting this glass with a bat, apparently somehow short-circuited the circuit. I don't know how. Then they have to run out of a crumbling building. And it's just really ridiculous. Really ridiculous. And it just ruined the character and everything about. So yeah, those are the 5 episodes that I have seen so far. Not really all that pleased with all of them, but that's what we're getting. If I have to give this a rating for episode 1 to 5 of Caped Crusader, I will give this a 1.9 out of 5. Honestly, 1.9 out of 5. I wanted to give it I really wanted to give it a 2, maybe a 2.5, but the thing with Harley Quinn was just too stupid to ignore. So yeah, 1.9 out of 5. So 5 more episodes to go. I will then do a video on that. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like me, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell if I already upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.